Imagine yourself minding your own business while enjoying an expensive coffee in a cafe when a man enters. He's got the look. He's not particularly ostentatious or trying too hard, but there's something about him that makes you stop, and people notice him, but he's not making a scene. It turns out that he's a spy. Well, technically he's retired now, but you can still tell by the way he moves and carries himself. But for some reason I couldn't help but ask him a question that's probably well outside of his normal repertoire. What's the key to attracting women? His response astounded me. "You're asking the wrong question," he remarked, leaning in and giving me a half smile. Great start, I thought. But then he explained, "You don't seduce women. You create an environment where they feel safe enough, intrigued enough to seduce themselves." At first that sounded like some cryptic nonsense, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense, so I pushed him for more. He broke it down in a way that was almost annoyingly simple, but undeniably true. The power of presence. The first thing he said is to be present. Most men aren't even in the same moment as the person they're talking to. He explained that too many guys are stuck in their heads, thinking about their next move, their insecurities, their goals. You can feel that from a mile away. He said it hit me. You know, those conversations where the other person is nodding, smiling, saying all the right words, but you can tell their mind is somewhere else. Women pick up on that instantly. He told me to focus on listening. Not just hearing, but truly listening. Listening is more than waiting for your turn to talk, he said. It's about absorbing what she's saying and responding with curiosity. Stop thinking about what you want from her, and instead consider how you can enhance the moment she's in. If you're enjoying these insights and are still with me on this journey, please let me know by leaving a comment with a number 1 below. Thank you for sharing this time with me. This isn't because you're trying to impress her, but because you're genuinely interested. We've all been on a date or at a party where there's an awkward silence, and all of a sudden you're panicking and making random remarks to fill the void. But he explained that true confidence is being okay with those gaps. He then dropped another gem. Confidence isn't about being the loudest guy in the room or constantly cracking jokes. It's about being comfortable in silence. He told me a story about being undercover while sitting across from untrustworthy individuals, where every word he spoke had consequences. His weapon was silence. It made others uneasy, but it wasn't awkward for him because it was effective with women. The same thing he said. If you're composed and unconcerned by a pause, it indicates that you're not trying to prove yourself. Rather, you're allowing her to enter the conversation without overpowering her with your enthusiasm. This may have been my favorite part of the conversation. He said that you don't need to be charming. All you need to be is curious. When we think about it, we're all so focused on trying to be that we forget to connect. A personality that is larger than life instead than questioning her or crossing things off a mental list. He advised concentrating on getting to know her world, what makes her tick, and what makes her happy. He said that when you approach it this way, the conversation doesn't feel forced and flows naturally. However, he cautioned that balance is essential and that in the long run, you can't come across as overly interested too soon. He said that while curiosity is important, it must be balanced with a sense of self-assuredness. He finished with this. Most men overcomplicate things. They try too hard to impress, to perform, but it's not about doing more. It's about being more present, confident, and curious. If you're still watching and finding resonance in these insights, please leave a comment with number 2 below to let me know you're here. You're learning about her world, but you also have your own world. This balance creates a dynamic where she feels both seen and intrigued, and she wants to know more because you're not just handing everything over on a silver platter. I appreciate you spending your precious time and joining me on this adventure. As I was leaving the cafe, I couldn't help but think about the simple yet profound lesson he had imparted. His advice wasn't particularly innovative or dazzling, rather, it was straightforward and based in connection and authenticity, but that's what made it so potent. The lesson was clear. Instead of concentrating on seduction as a performance, create an atmosphere of comfort and curiosity where the magic happens. The secret is to be curious about your own boundaries. You're not only there to please her, you're there to communicate who you are. If you start going overboard in an attempt to impress her, she'll realize that you're not being dependable or showy. This is where his spy side really came out. He told me that being predictable is the quickest way to lose someone's interest. He wasn't talking about playing games or being manipulative. On the contrary, he was saying that you shouldn't be like every other guy, because most men enter conversations with the same lines, moves, and energy. He explained that being authentically yourself is the unseen advantage of being unattached. Lastly, he stressed that attachment is the death of seduction, saying that when you approach someone with the energy of, "I need this to work," it instantly puts the other person on edge. This was really important to me. It's so easy to get caught up in wanting her number, her validation, or her attention, but when you let go of those needs, something amazing happens. You stop chasing, and people naturally come closer to you. The craziest move walking away. At this point, I had to ask him, "Okay, but what's the craziest thing you've done to connect with someone?" He laughed and said something that completely threw me off. Sometimes the most powerful move is to walk away. He told me about a time he was on a mission where building trust was critical. He made his presence known, showed interest, and then left before anyone could get too comfortable with him. I planted the seed of curiosity, and it grew on its own. He said in dating, "It's not about walking away in a manipulative way. It's about knowing when to leave an interaction on a high note, when you end things with her wanting more. She'll remember you and want to see you again. If you're still here and finding these reflections meaningful, please comment number 3 below to let me know you're on this journey with me. Your involvement and time are greatly appreciated." The lesson learned at the conclusion of our conversation: the spy's advice wasn't revolutionary in the sense of being some secret formula. It was just basic human and so obvious that we frequently overlook it. So, the next time you're out there trying to connect with someone, remember to be present, be curious, and for the love of all things, stop trying so hard. I realize that seduction isn't about trick lines or even looks. It's about energy, or how you make someone feel in your presence safe, intrigued, and excited. Seduction is about creating an environment where it happens organically, not about forcing it, isn't it? Clever sentences or ostentatious gestures are not the key to the art of connecting. It all comes down to sincerity, curiosity, and presence. Many people seek approval in the hopes of impressing others, but this frequently results in a neediness that turns people off instead. Being present is a powerful tool, but too frequently we're preoccupied with what to say next and miss the moment completely. True confidence comes from approaching interactions with detachment, as if you're already enough. When you stop clinging to results and embrace who you are, you create a natural magnetism that draws others in. Sincere listening, not just hearing, enables us to connect deeply. People can tell when you're paying attention, and this small act of thoughtfulness can make you stand out. Similarly, curiosity has a greater impact than charm. Instead of trying to impress someone, concentrate on learning about their world. This leads to genuine conversations that flow naturally. Lastly, unpredictability adds intrigue. It's not about playing games, but embracing your unique self and knowing when to end an interaction on a high note creates a lasting impression. Today, Practice being fully present in your conversations. Pay close attention, pose meaningful questions, and let go of the need to dictate results. Naturally, confidence, connection, and intrigue will ensue.